stop
You
it.
got it.
Let's
You can
stop it
take
there.
it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final episode of the Bad Questions, Worst Answers podcast. Each week, I, Connor, along with my friends Charlie
Hello.
and Brett,
Hello.
Nice.
present a bad question to the others. Then we attempt to explore these bad questions with the worst answers. All right. So we have Brett back on the pod. Not official. We don't know how long he can stay, but yeah, Brett.
He
What?
could
I think I
leave
can
at
make
any
it to the
minute.
end.
What?
Yeah, that's the fun. Stick around, see if I leave.
See if Brett stays.
Before we get into what's
I'm
up
like
with
a counting clock ticking up.
Before we get into what's up with Brett, I just want to address some comments we got onto the last episode, because the last episode we kind of addressed the general lack of comments and people not commenting what we asked them to comment, and we got quite a bit of comments on the last episode. I just want to say, Brody, friend of the show, Brody commented. He said, "Connor, I always make sure to comment, but I never comment what you tell me to because 1, they're uninteresting, 2, I just don't care, and 3, there's too many things you say to comment about." A real great comment. I had some back and forth with him. Tomba1 says beans.
We asked for that.
I don't think we asked for that, but I accept. I like the comment in the first place. And Sean
Hey, comment
says,
beans right now if you're watching.
"There we go." And Sean says, "Commenting below."
Are you guys familiar with the Barstool Sports one slice pizza reviews?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those comment sections are so lively. I mean, there's tons of comments, and they're all the same formula. It's all the same formula. It's like the Prez did this, one bite, you know the rule, like whatever. It's like the same. Everybody's saying the same shit, and it's not that funny, but it's entertaining because there's so much of it. And I think that's what we're trying to cultivate here.
Yes.
Yeah, so just comment like whatever you want down below. How about?
Yeah.
I'd like to be the next Dave Portnoy.
Before we started the podcast, I addressed that I want to get more connected with the audience. So I think we're off to a great start, just on the pod front in general.
Dave Portnoy goes
Do you
by
have a name?
Prez. What should we go by? I'm coming out swinging today.
That'd be a great. Yeah.
We'll save that question for another episode. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe that's
All right,
something
good.
that the audience can decide.
Yeah.
Comment
I
below
don't know.
what Connor should be called.
Connor, do you have a name for your audience? Do you have any cheeky little
I
group
don't
title?
yet. I think.
Maybe the Moffeteers.
Oh, that's awful.
You can
Yeah, I
do
was
a lot worse.
down on that one.
I announced yesterday that I'm gonna be live streaming on. It's either like Tuesday or Wednesday. I haven't decided yet by the recording of this pod, but it's either gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday at like 7 p.m. So maybe when I'm live streaming, or in the comments on the previous video, maybe they will decide what will be called. I don't know.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, Brett, what's up with you?
What's up with me, man? Today was I'm in my bed. I've been in my bed for, I want to say, more than like 85% of the day today, which is bad, right?
That sounds
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, that does
Yeah.
sound awesome.
I don't know. Like I think this is the first time though where I'm feeling like it's a good thing almost. Like it's kind of like a reset day. Like I hit the bottom, right, and I'm about to jump off.
Hmm.
Like tomorrow,
I
and I'm
think those days are
feeling good
good.
about tomorrow. Yeah.
Those days are really good in moderation. I think like once every few months having one of those days is fine. If that's like every day, it's bad, but I think one of those is good for you.
Yeah, it's like I'm eating like all the cookies in the jar, and I'm gonna get sick of cookies for like the
Mhm.
next month. I'm just like getting out all that bad energy.
Hmm.
I mean, there's no way that works, right? But
I'm big
I mean,
on that.
I
Whenever
did
I
that
have,
before I
you
started.
go ahead.
oh.
You got it. No, you can go.
well, I actually had one more thought.
What is it? This is the weirdest episode.
Let's just keep going. Persevere.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Speaking of like, I kind of did that before I started working out at the beginning of the year. Like my mom makes like
you
all
work
these
out?
cookies. What?
You work
Well,
out.
okay.
It's cool.
This is not good.
Yeah, this
Boys,
is
this is not good.
I was like trying to make he plugged that he was working out. Like it's kind of like a humble brag. Not gonna.
What do you bench,
know,
Connor?
little-
I don't know what I bench.
Oh fuck no! I'm not buying that.
I just put on so much weight that I just lose track.
Right.
I wouldn't pay
Okay.
attention.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's whatever's on the bar.
My gym at my apartment complex doesn't have like a bar. They only have dumbbells and like a bench. So I just do dumbbell bench press. And right now I can do like 25s of dumbbells on pretty comfortably. But I'm still fat. In the previous in-person pods, I wanted to emphasize how fat I was. Don't get me wrong, I'm still fat. I'm rearing the end of my 5th week. Before we recorded, I went on a run. Also, I'm
you run
sick.
now too. Okay.
Yeah, I do runs on Fridays and Saturdays. So we're recording this on a Friday, and I ran, and I'm also sick. I have a pretty bad cold. I couldn't finish the run all the way. I just couldn't. I wasn't
Did you
feeling.
wear a mask when you ran?
No, there's literally my gym is like the worst setup. No one cleans in there, so there's like dust clumps. Maybe that's why I have the cold, because no one cleans in there. There's like dust clumps everywhere. It's very obvious they just do not give a shit about the gym unless like
Nice.
something's broken. Then they might fix it. It's a real if.
Maybe you can like be the change you want to see. Like maybe just bring like a tube of what are those called? Like baby wipe type
Vaseline.
cloth? No.
No.
What wet wipes? Yeah, wet wipes.
Yeah,
Bring, like,
wet
a tube
wipes.
And be like put like a sign next to it that just says like please wipe down equipment after you use it, and then you just kind
That's
of
gonna be. I'm gonna be like the Pam in that Office episode where they want to clean the microwave, and she sets up that sign that's like, "Come on, guys, like let's make a change, clean the microwave," and everyone's like, "I agree with you, but I don't want to clean the microwave either."
But it's like such a small thing. I think if you could like masquerade it as like a management thing.
Yeah, maybe
Then
I'll have to
maybe
take it up
people
with
would be
management and
intimidated.
see what they say.
Yeah, make like a dash management on that
Yeah.
sign. I think that could work.
Yeah, like who's gonna ever care?
Lemonade.
Dash property manager. Great.
I think that's a
Yeah.
move. And props to you, Connor, for getting out there doing the working out. I always tell myself I will, and I've never done anything. So good
Hopefully
to see it.
by the end of my 8th week, I'm a little less fat.
Are you losing weight at all?
I don't have a scale at my apartment, so I don't know.
Oh.
But and then when I look in the mirror, I think I look a little bit better. But it really depends.
Hey, that's all that counts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nothing, but
it's-
it's good.
It's kind of like my
against the
YouTube
count.
videos. I am just constantly disappointed in like how I'm performing.
Hey, that's not what we want to sell. It's all happy
Hey.
here at BQW.
I'm trying to make things more personal. I want to show the ups and the downs.
nice.
I had a professor recently who said Warren Buffett had a great quote about having a long marriage, and it was have low expectations. So, maybe take that advice.
That could
forward.
be useful. Yeah. A lot of applications.
I don't know. It's not that I'm like expecting anything high, but there's like I feel like in my head there's like a reasonable amount of expectation going on. But I guess I need to set that even lower. Like I just
No, I think you're doing it great. Like working out without a scale, like just like doing it to like the point where you feel good. Same with like your YouTube. Like if you're putting out good content, that's like you're like trying to get better each video. Like what else can you do? Like I don't know.
That's a good message.
Yeah,
Numbers
that's
are
true.
numbers.
Do we want to jump into the questions? I got a killer story, but I can save
Oh
it for
wait,
another episode.
before we get into
No, no,
that,
no.
I just want to
Yeah.
shout out Doom, another commenter of the show. One of my favorite commenters and audience members at the moment, Doominator. He commented below my comment and said, "I'm a real viewer. I know that's a trick question." So he gets that when we
Nice.
ask to comment something, we know what's going on.
We've got one guy that's on our team.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to give a shout out to Doom. Anyway, Charlie, go.
I'm doing the story.
Yeah, what's up with you,
Yeah,
Charlie?
what's
I
up?
heard you. Yeah.
Okay, so we all know my New Year's resolution was to be nicer, right? Be like just a largely better human being to the world. And
Mhm.
so
What was your plan for implementing that?
there
I'm
was
already
no
interrupting,
there
sorry.
was no plan. The plan was just like work harder. You know, if somebody decides to talk to me at a grocery store, instead of turning the other way and ignoring them or something, pretending like I didn't hear it, you know, embrace that a little bit. And there's been a lot of that. I do genuinely think there's been a small amount of self-improvement on that front. I've had a couple of positive interactions at the grocery store. Handled a number of things that previously I probably wouldn't have handled as well. But today I'm going to tell a story about why I'm ending that New Year's resolution. So, a couple weeks ago, a guy in my apartment complex group chat sent out a thing that was like, "Hey, none of my roommates are like in town, and so I'm alone, and I broke my leg. Can somebody like come and take my trash out every couple weeks?
That sounds fake.
Because like I'm yeah." And then in a couple of weeks, I needed like a ride to the hospital for surgery, and so I did nothing. You know that typically I did nothing with that. Let that happen.
That's
I
called
figured somebody
social
else would take
loafing.
care of it.
Yep,
Yeah.
social loafing.
I figured somebody
Classic.
else would handle that. And then a couple weeks, or like a week and a half had gone by, and I was pulling into the parking lot. Somebody was parked in my spot, and I threw a text in the group chat, was like, "Hey, whoever's parked there, can they please move?" And then I went and drove around for a bit. And the same fella responded and said, "Hey, I think they're gone." So that to me was a remarkably nice thing to do. I mean, you tell me my parking spot is open, you're a friend of mine.
Well,
So
question.
I sent him
Point of order.
Yep.
How did he know that they were gone from your parking spot? Like, is he watching? Does he know what your spot is?
Well, they weren't like in my parking spot. They were like parked sideways across like 4 spots. It was so stupid. Like they
Oh.
could have just taken one person's, but instead they were blocking like 4.
It's
Anyway,
called jujitsu
so I said
parking.
whoever's
I saw
I
a
said
sign
whoever's
once.
parked.
All right,
This is awful.
What? I'm throwing in lingo. Like I thought that was, whatever.
Okay, so he tells me that I send him like a private message, and I'm like, "Did you ever find a ride to the hospital?" He says no. I say, and it was like the next day that would happen, and I was like, "Okay, fine. Like I can do that. I can make that work." And I like texted some professor or emailed some professors that I'd be a little late. Like figured it out, made some moves on my end to accommodate this.
Yeah,
right?
you went out of your way.
Yeah, and I was being nice, and I felt really good about it. And so the next morning, I take him to the hospital at like 7:30 in the morning, super early for me, and it's like a couple towns over, so it was like a 20-minute drive. Again, really great guy that I'm being right here. And disclosure, like he paid me for that, and that was all chill. But I do that, and he says,
You
pick
took
me up.
payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says that I need to pick him up at like some time. I get a call from the hospital that he'll be done soon, and I go there, and then they bring him out super late. And so I was feeling even better about myself at this point. I was like I've sat in this parking lot for 30 minutes and like waited to get this kid. It was a huge win for me. He comes out, he's all drugged up. He's had surgery. He's in a ton of pain. The doctor like throws him in the back of my truck and hands me a bag and is like, "This is for if he throws up." And so I'm already thinking like,
Oh, he's gonna
No,
throw
no,
up.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
no.
That doctor manifested it.
And he says, and he's also got a couple of prescriptions you got to pick up at the Rite Aid. And so I'm like, oh, like that's killer for me. That a Rite Aid experience is something I go out of my way to avoid all the time. And now I've got to do it for some random dude. But anyway, I go to the Rite Aid and I go in and I sign for his controlled substance opioids, painkillers, and stuff.
What? Is he in the car still?
Yeah, he's in the car. I mean, he can't move. Like he's messed up. So I'm putting my ass on the line for this guy. Like if these opioids get out into the world, my license ID is gonna be attached to him. So I'm putting myself out there, doing good. I take him home. He's like complaining and the whole time, but it was all good. Almost threw up, but didn't. I help him into his bed in his apartment, where he then throws up. And so I'm just a bro. No, right? He got it in the bag, but I'm a bro. I'm sitting there watching this guy throw up, and I'm chill with it. Just another guy. I'm being a good dude. Then he says, "Yeah, I don't have any food in my apartment. You go get some food."
What?
And so I leave, and I go to the grocery store, and I'm in the grocery store for probably an hour as he's texting me like different things he wants. And it's like an outlet grocery store where stuff's cheaper, but it also means the same stuff isn't there. So I'm like, dude, the stuff like you're saying, like it's not here. Do you want this instead? It was a whole thing. I was there forever and couldn't find like most of what I needed to. So I felt shitty and put in a ton of effort for it. Again, like just anyway, I'm feeling ecstatic about my status as a human being. Though. Like, has anyone ever been nicer than I was being at this point?
Sounds like you're counting your chickens.
I go back.
Yeah.
I go back to his place. Give him some food. Like put the rest away, and then he's like, one of the things he wanted was yogurt. And so I give him the yogurt. And I'm like, yeah, where's a spoon? He's like, oh, in that backpack over there. So I open the backpack and pull out like a plate and some silverware that was in there, and the silverware is just covered in like stuff that's like hardened onto it, and.
Well, when you're pulling it out of like a pouch in like this backpack, it is
yeah,
not typically where you store silverware.
Anyway, I'm now cleaning his silverware for him because it's super gross and bad. So I'm sent off to go clean the silverware, and I'm doing that. But I'm basically this dude's live-in maid at this point, right? Like I've spent most of my evening doing errands and different chores for this guy. But that happens, and then since then, he just randomly texts me like a couple times a day to come down and make him some food, and I, walk on down there, make him some food. Today I had to go to the grocery store again for him. I'm getting totally, what is it? Is the word cuckolded? Is that a thing?
I don't want to be too cynical, but it seems like this guy is kind of setting you up. At first, it was like, okay, we're just gonna like take him to the hospital and back, but he was like, I know I'm gonna get this guy to do all this other stuff, like dirty silverware. Why?
Yeah, a lot of it is stuff where I'm like, couldn't you handled this before? Yeah. Like, gotten some food, like set yourself up a little bit. But at the same time, like he doesn't have any roommates. He doesn't. I've gotten to know him a little bit. He's an interesting guy. He doesn't. I don't think really know anyone else in the town. Like if I don't do it, he doesn't have another. Like way to handle it. And there's a ton of other stuff I could get into, but I don't want to get like too personal with it. But it's just been a whole experience for me, and I've decided to never be nice again because this is so not paid off.
I think
what you've done is like, yeah, like Connor said, I think he's kind of like reached like the grifting stage of this where like, how mobile is he?
Not very. Genuinely not very.
Like, I'm just trying to think. Like, what's like the time frame on this? Do you have like a horizon on like, will he recover?
Yeah, no, that's where I'm at. These are the things that I'm concerned about. Like, am I gonna have to take him back to the hospital again and like get his cast and stuff off? Like, I feel like I'm somehow in for the long term, and I feel like he does not see it as a services rendered relationship. I think he's kind of viewing it as more of a friend thing. And honestly, I just feel like mistreated most of the time. Like there's rarely a thank you for the tremendous amount of decency that I put into this. It's been a real thing, a real crazy one.
Is he paying you for it, or does he think he's doing it as like a favor?
He paid me for the initial driving, and he pays me for anything that I buy for him. But I don't get paid to like go down and take care of stuff for him or anything like that.
At this point, I don't know. It's tough because, like, if he is like truly like he can't like be mobile to like get to the kitchen and like make food. Gosh, I don't know, but you're also like not expected to drop your bags, I guess, and that's sort of what you're doing is like halting your day for him.
He's like decent about it.
That's not fair to you.
It's not like a request. He's always like, if you have time, come and do this. But it's
okay.
it's like the onus is then on me because both of us know it's not gonna happen if I don't do it. You know, like.
Could you like work to make it so you can like make him self-sufficient? Like, hey, I'm gonna like look to get these foods, and then so just to cut down on like the effort that goes into like preparing it. I don't know.
It's tough because like it's not like an easy relationship to work in right now. He's kind of he's an unusual guy to collaborate with on these matters.
It's a very nice gesture, like you said. Like you're going above and beyond, and like you're doing way more than anyone like is expected to. That's great, right? But yeah, like I think it's fair to set up some boundaries, or I don't know, maybe say, hey, like I have my own life I have to like attend to. Like, could you try reaching out to like someone else in the building to like help out? I don't know.
Yeah, I think at some point in the near future, I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, I need to at some point kind of set that up because it's becoming like I get nothing out of it, and if he were even just more like had some more gratitude for the effort that I put in, like I don't know, I feel like I'm being like a pretty nice person to do all this, and I get nothing back. Like at this point, it feels like something he just kind of expects. And at that point, I don't know. I don't want to be a part of that.
Gosh, I mean, yeah, it's really tough, man. It's like a tough balance because like you don't want to leave someone out high and dry, especially that you kind of like know now.
Yeah.
So you can kind of put a face to it. God, I don't know. I am not envious of that situation, I suppose. That will make you feel better, but
anyway, I just think it's a good story, and I think to me, it is so classic that I finally start to try and be nice and open up, and I end up in like the weirdest like nice, I don't know, like the weirdest end point of being nice.
I do think though that you're expecting something too tangible out of this. Like through the whole story, you were like. You kept counting the amount of times that you were being a good person, and this is it is about like, doing a good deed. But I mean, it's hard for anyone to like not recognize it, be like, yeah, like I'm doing like a good thing. I can't wait for like karma to like come and reach me or whatever. But I do think we're putting a little too much emphasis on the like. I'm being a real good guy, and I can't wait for this to circle back around to like to what I'm doing.
No,
not
that's
to say
fair.
that you've been doing anything bad. I'm just trying to provide some devil's advocate counterpoints here.
No, and I think that's good to acknowledge, and I don't want it to sound like I'm expecting like some kind of great return or something, but I just like. I guess to me it's just a great example of, and when I've told this to other people, they've just sort of reacted as like, yeah, that would be what happened. Like the like you finally put yourself out there and accept a nice task, and you end up in like a really overcomplicated like.
This is a very you situation.
It's not a simple give and take somehow.
Yeah.
Like
this is like a Disney Plus movie where like you're animated and you're like, well, I mean we're like these curmudgeons, and we're like, oh, I'm not gonna help anyone, and be like, oh, maybe I might help someone, and then I go out to do it, and then we just like unlearn our lesson.
Yeah, that's all.
So
that's all.
It's definitely very like.
With it.
Yeah, it's definitely like a poetic sort of. I don't know. Is like the Christmas Carol like sort of like that? I don't know.
That's kind of it. Yeah, I do. I should. Yeah, you're right though, Connor. To clarify, like I don't mean to make it sound like I was owed or deserved anything, and I am like genuinely perfectly happy to do it. Otherwise, I would have backed out in some way.
Yeah.
Like it's gratifying for me to be doing it, even though there is no like reciprocation, I guess. But yeah, I just think it's it's why you don't be nice. It's what I'm learning. It's why I've been doing it right for the last 19 years. I don't know why I started to get all crazy in the end of this 20th.
I think it's one of those things, right? Like moving forward, when that text comes in the chat, you're just gonna you have to take a beat, you have to like pause, like see if someone else volunteers, and then you just like jump in at the end like you did. Like I think this is just kind of comes with the territory of, I don't know, being a nice guy. I think it's good that you're on this side.
Learning experience, and I'm being cynical. I'm not going to stop being nice, but I just it's a good story.
Totally.
It's a good story. I shouldn't overemphasize my my bad traits in this example, because the whole story is about me being better, and so I should make it clear that I'm being better.
I wonder if it's like a curse thing where it's like, let's say you like stop helping out or something, then you break your leg, and it's like the cycle. It starts. With
Yeah, now I've got to call on him.
It's like an evil entity, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So.
Hey, and here's maybe like the upside, the thing I'm gaining is if that does happen to me, like I'll be better at handling it, Like I will do a better job of handling being in a situation like this on either side than I would have before, Like I'm learning and gaining from it, and I'm feeling like a better person, which I think is fine.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of, maybe I'm gonna phrase this like terribly, but like the ability to like take care of someone, I think is like really valuable. I'm even thinking like in terms of like pets or whatever, being able to like step in and like just jump in and help. I think that's great. And right, like you said, you were helping him get in his bed, like helping him like make food. Like I think that's a really good skill just to have, to like be able to just drop everything and for someone else and just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be gained from it, and it feels good. I just I want the world to know that I'm trying, and I am being nicer, and I'm being better, and it's had some pretty comical outcomes for me. Comical and also predictable.
I like it.
All right, so we've killed a lot of this pod
Good
already.
fodder. Good fodder.
You want to start with your question, Connor, and if that gets us to time, we can skip mine.
Yeah, sure. My question is, were humans a mistake?
I think this is a real dandy. I mean, I have no idea where to go with it, but I do really like it.
I was watching a TikTok, basically kind of like the
We're all
premise
intellectual
was...
start. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean...
Socrates was doing the same thing, back in the day.
Well, I mean, it was weird. I was just like scrolling through TikTok. I know this sounds like very like basic and average, where it's like, I saw this on TikTok, so I'm gonna do it today. Yeah. But I mean, I do think it brings up like interesting stuff. Anyway, the video was weird. It was like this dude doing Minecraft parkour, and it was just like animated subtitles for like every word that he was saying, and he was just talking about the general premise was like why are humans here in the first place? Like, why haven't we found any like outside life or something? I don't know. Anyway, yeah,
I don't want to get into that one with Brett.
This is so loaded. Yeah. I mean,
a lot of strong opinions about aliens here on the pod.
I don't think we were a mistake. Or, like, if we are, it's one of those things like, well, if you say we're a mistake, then everything else is, right? Then if everything's a mistake, is anything a mistake? Then, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think, Brett, you're acknowledging creationism as much as you should be with that. I think you're sort of focused on an evolutionary approach there, and I've lately been trying to be way more open to creationism. I think that's just a good message to be spreading.
I think like something created some like part of it, right? But like evolution is like, I think that's a fact that occurred. Maybe like the initial life forms were created, but like,
well, in God's vision,
it's whatever you want it to believe. Like, yeah, like Charlie said,
we're not laughing at that idea itself. It's just like. Just like the irony of like our conversation. I just feel like I should clarify that. Anyway, I think
do a lot of that. I agree with Brett that I don't think we're a mistake. I mean, I think it's such a defeatist thing. Like I guess it's not as much that I like strongly disagree, but I just think it's sad. Like as soon as you admit that, it's like, why are we even trying? You know, like we
Yeah,
should just give up and
it
throw in the
brings
towel.
like a sense of like purposelessness where it's like, why are we even here in the first place? Like, I do think it is like confusing to where like, or just like interesting that how are we like the only life form as far as like we know that we've like interacted with to where we have like such like existential thought, or the fact that we can't where we can't even think that we were a mistake in the first place. I think that's like interesting. And I mean, like generally, like my personal thoughts, like I do think like there's reason to most things, and like things generally, like I don't know, happen for some sort of reason, like one way or another. But I do think that this is I do think the existence of like humans in general is like just interesting and like a little bit confusing, and I think it's like entertaining to ask the question.
Well, kind of what
Oh,
Connor was saying.
absolutely. Go ahead, Brett.
I was just like the ability that we even have like the capability to even like ponder these questions. Like that's crazy, right? That's beautiful. Like, does anything matter? Like the idea that we can even bring up that thought and like have that discussion, like that's so crazy. Like I think that does prove that we matter. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
cool.
the fact that we've moved past this like hunter gatherer phase and moved like so far like past that, like like I don't know if this is dumb, but like we're like the only like species that has kind of moved past that like hunting and like gathering phase. Like, am I correct on that, or is that dumb? Like we're like top of the food chain. Like
Oh
we
yeah,
like
yeah. I mean,
we've
that's
moved
like making
past like
progress, but
we've moved
We
past
make our
like
own food.
yeah, we make our own food. We don't really have to worry about food or water or like like once we move past that, we're able to think about like art and like language and all these other things.
I think it's yeah. I'm totally with you that there's so much like beauty and an incredible amount of like uh, profoundness that comes along with it. Is profundity a word? Anyway, but like there's so much good and beauty that we can bring to the table. I think it's I get how people like get negative and upset about what humans mess up on the planet, and like there's tons of great examples of it, and it's all sad and tragic. But I think it's in a lot of ways kind of like short-sighted, I guess, and like or I guess you have to ignore a lot to get to that point. And as true as it all is, and as bad as it all is, I think like largely there's things that humans contribute to the world that even like the other really intelligent animals like octopi and whales and stuff like that and dolphins just can't. Like I think we can bring a lot to the table, and sure we're fucking a lot up, but we're trying to fix it. Like we're doing our best.
Yeah, like what's the counterfactual to this? Like, what would be a non-mistake version of humans be, right? I don't know. Like, I feel like to prove that we're a mistake, you'd have to prove what the the perfect, like the ideal situation would be. I don't think anyone can foresee it differently what it is today. Like, I don't know. That's what separates like the chimpanzees from us, right? That we have the thought to like do stuff for others, like compassion, like we can like contemplate these emotions. And yeah, like animals can like they like dogs have empathy, stuff like that. Connor, I forget if I could remember that dog fact you had. I
From
wish
like woofprince.com or something
yeah,
like that.
if I could
I
have just
forget
ripped,
what
I
I
have a
was
bad
doing.
memory, but if I could have just ripped that real quick. But um I don't I think there's a lot of great qualities that like were not a mistake. And if they were, it's a beautiful mistake. Sweet. Anyway,
I don't know.
I was
There's a
waiting
lot
for
to think
Connor to
of.
like. bring up his
No,
end.
Can I go on a tangent like what Charlie
didn't
said
even
about
wait
like
for us to answer.
squids and like whales being like these smart animals. What do they do for other people, right? Like do they just kind of like ball out like with their own intelligence? Like cool, but I feel like that's where humans are kind of, a little bit better. We're killing off a lot of the animals sadly, but I think
Yeah,
the
but
good
like we're
people are
fixing
helping
it. Like
out.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's always like, look at these horrible, shitty things we're doing. Like today, I was scrolling way too far on Reddit, and I saw like a video of whales that were like they're like vertical in the water. Like their heads were pointed up and sticking out of the ocean, and it was crazy looking. Like I was blown away at the size and scale of it. And like fish are jumping into their mouths, and then they close their mouths and they eat all the fish or something like that. And then I went to the comments, and the dude who posted it was explaining like, yeah, this actually happens because the water's too polluted and it's
like,
messing
air
up.
rises and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pushing all the fish to the top and it's fucking it up. And so I was like, my initial reaction to this like beautiful, incredible thing was like, oh, well, that's tragic and sad. But you know what? We're fixing it. Like we're trying to save the whales and we're trying to clean up the oceans. Like we fucked it up, but we didn't know. It's not like anybody's like, let's really fuck the whales. Like,
well, Shell Corporation definitely knew what they were doing.
Drilling in like, yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's always evidence that.
Have
like,
you
big
seen the schematics? They purposely made it that tall so the sea level could get to that tall.
Yeah,
that
there's
high.
always people like arguing shit like that, and I think like largely people are motivated for good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I believe inherently that
maybe.
I believe inherently that people are good, but I know I have friends that say the opposite, and they say that people are inherently evil, and you have to choose to be good.
I have a really bad habit of thinking everyone has some fucking alternative motive where I like need to figure out like what their bad thing is. I have a real bad habit of that.
Are you Batman?
I don't think Batman does that. No, I just like no. I mean, I like to believe that people are good, but like something in the back of my head is like, what the fuck is like wrong with like what is their thing that is like wrong with them? I don't know.
I think this is my thesis on it. Like my take is that everyone is motivated by like self-preservation and self-improvement on some level. And like if I don't know, I firmly believe that if any of us were, the CEO of Shell or something like that, like we'd be pretty motivated. Or like, I guess if you put us in that position, like if you took Connor Moffat and made him CEO of Shell, I think he'd probably be different. But if you worked your ass off your whole life and like, made your way up that ladder and got there, I think it would be pretty hard to do everything right. Like I think you'd still fuck a lot up. And I don't know. I think people are just motivated by like doing better for themselves. And I think a lot of bad decisions and harmful decisions are made by people with a lot of power. But I don't think it's like made out of a desire to kill more whales and stuff like that. Like they're trying to do something they think is right. That's my thesis.
There's I'll bring the discussion to George Price and the price of altruism, where it's like the idea this man proved like scientifically that animals cannot be altruistic or compassionate to others because in a self-preservation world where survival of the fittest is like the norm, if you do things for others that lowers your like survival chances, that trait of being altruistic will die off because you will have a less chance of surviving than those that are selfish, right? That are looking out for themselves. And he basically sought to like disprove this, like he gave away all of his possessions or whatever. I don't know. Like it was. I don't want to believe that, right? I don't want to believe the science that people can't go against the grain and can't be, looking out for others because that hurts their survival chances. I feel like as humans, we've kind of like, ascended beyond that restraint. Does that make sense? Or was I just like spitting garbage.
No, I think it makes sense. I think we've gone past to a point where things are bigger than ourselves, and I think we have the luxury, as just like humans in general, we have the luxury of thinking about like, okay, like how, like I think it is like a self-preservation thing, like, but also in like a good way, if you know what I mean. Like the whole like people like fighting for the planet and like just like everything. I don't know.
I think, and I've harped on this before, but I think a lot of it too is just like everyone's exposure to so much negativity. Like it's so much easier to find things that are bad right now than it ever was before, and there's so much more bad just because like the world is bigger than it ever was. And I think that's part of the reason people get so down and negative about this stuff is it's way easier to find examples of like resources we're using up and things that we're fucking up than it is to find like the people that are working on incredible solutions to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can get into like the media industry and like who's controlling what people see generally. It's like, well, what drives like attention? Is it like that negative information or is it going to be like the positive stories? I don't know.
This is a very heady podcast. This got very heady.
This one's been all over the place.
The last one I was on, it was described as raw. So I feel like this is a good return to, or maybe a little offset the last one. I don't know. If you're listening to this, like I encourage you to believe in like a better reality than what is like what you think is possible. I don't know. I always think like it's all kind of made up. This world we're living in, right? Like, you know, death is gonna come, right? That doesn't mean that life is meaningless. Like we can still try to be better. Charlie can be nicer. Like that's possible.
I'm doing it.
He's doing it. Okay, so again, you know, Charlie, he's following through on his New Year's resolution. Like you can do it too. Great story. Yeah.
What do you guys think? This is sort of like tangential, I think, to what you were saying, Connor. But how do you guys feel about, like the perspective that people have? That's like, I don't want to have kids and bring them into this world that's like, you know, dying and withering away.
Oh boy.
For me, have you guys seen First Reformed?
No.
No.
That's basically like kind of what that. It's kind of what sets up that movie. Like, there's like a couple that, and there's a priest that comes in who's Ethan Hawke, and the wife wants the priest to talk to the husband about how, the husband doesn't like basically what you said, Charlie. How he's like, okay, global warming's gonna like kill us all. Like, why should I even have a kid when we're gonna bring him into a world like this? And then later on, spoiler, later on in the movie, the husband kills himself because of it. I don't know. Anyway, I think. Sorry, I keep sniffling.
I don't know. I just liked that take. He kills himself later.
Whatever. Yeah.
Put that up on
Didn't help
Letterboxd.
anything with the. It didn't help at all with the. With like the point cutters.
I was gonna talk about it. I just wanted to talk about
spoiler warning for something that has nothing to do with what we're getting into. You just ruined First Reformed for like 22 people on the internet, including Brett and I.
Okay, that's whatever. I'm not gonna go any more into that. Anyway, I don't really personally. I don't understand that. What?
Well, yeah, you weren't gonna go into it anyway. Anyway, all right.
Whatever. I don't know.
So you're not with it.
Yeah, I guess I'm the stupid one out of the three.
I'm
Whatever.
I'm in a similar position. I'm not like.
I think I'm with you.
I would never like argue with someone on it or be like, you should have kids. Like it's obviously like their choice and they can take whatever angle they want on that. And I think that's an important thing to clarify. But to me, like, I don't know. I just feel like, yes, there's a lot of bad things, and you can find all kinds of research out there that the world's going to burn up, and it's just going to be a bunch of forest fires, and we're going to black out the atmosphere and burn or freeze or whatever, like the dinosaurs and stuff did. But I think there's just so much like positive stuff that's happening. Like there's so much incredible stuff that's being developed to fix these problems and reverse these things. And I also, and maybe this is like short-sighted, but just don't buy into the idea that we're literally going to like burn this massive, rock in space to the ground. I feel like it's going to be, I don't know, more fixable or at least like revertible down the road than people make it out to be.
Yeah, personally, I think it's like a little bit silly because at that point you've already like accepted defeat for yourself, and like if we're gonna like make any sort of change, like you just can't really have that defeated mentality already where you already like assume that it is going to happen even though we don't know that that's going to happen. Like I think like we're still have like some room to change. I don't know.
Yeah, so like if your local gym is really dirty and you just think that's the status quo and it's going to persist, don't think that. Think that it can be better. People can change their habits. Like we can improve the world around us. Connor won't get sick in the future because of his gym's dust bunnies. That felt good to say.
Yeah, it's just like it's short-sighted to me. Like there's all the data, like I said, there's all the data about the negativity, and it's either accurate or it's not. Part of it is I think we don't know. Like you're making a decision, or you're making a really strong decision about something we don't like really fully know. Like it's all models and hypothetical that's predicting these doom and gloom situations, and it's like based on what we have and can do now. Like who knows what new things that we have access to and new technology we can employ in the future that can have significant impacts on all this and hugely revert it. I don't know. I'm a huge believer in like innovate through our problems, and I believe in the ability of mankind or humankind to solve these problems as we get there. And I just think it's sad, and again, I would never argue it with someone, but I think it's sad to be so I don't know, converted on that, or so, what's the word I want, just like down about the prospects of our species.
You really got Connor tired with that last one.
I'm sorry, I do not feel good.
No, I'm with Charlie. Yeah, like.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I've been kind of going off, but this is just stuff I'm so passionate about. Like I don't know. I think it's really cool to be humans, and I think it's really cool, like all the stuff that we've made and can do, and how much we will probably be able to do in the future and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm a big fan of our work.
And I think we'll end on that note. We've reached a tight 47, 48, so it's time to bounce out of here.
All right, we're going to bounce, viewer.
All right, whatever.
Have a good one. We'll be back with more quality content.
You can stick around, though. Don't worry. Like,
replay it.
Watch the suggested video to your right. I don't know.
Or not. I don't know. It's whatever you want.
Is this the corner?
No, well,
I think it'll be. Yeah, I think this is the corner.
Nice. So I'm the guy.
Wait. Do you not have your camera on like reflective mode or whatever?
Oh, you're pointing the wrong way, Brett. Am I pointing the wrong way?
That's like the top right.
You guys are both pointing to the top left on my screen.
I'm so confused.
So Charlie, if you hold up your right hand, does it show up on the right side of your screen or the left?
This is my right hand.
My right hand is showing up. It's like a mirror for me. Like it's showing up on the right side.
Oh, I'm so confused then.
So I think it's for me. It's over there.
For me, it's over here.
That's the top right.
Am I pointing the wrong way?
Oh, wait. Oh, my head hurt.
Are you still recording all this, Connor?
Yeah.
This is ideal Patreon content.
The post
Well, I was
show.
thinking like if I'm looking at you guys, I'm looking from like the perspective of like the mirror, right? But if you're looking at your camera, you're looking at the mirror. No, that doesn't make sense.
I'm looking at Connor as though I were sitting on his desk looking at him. I know that just because of like the layout of his room. I kind of like that image too. Just me like squatting on Connor's monitor.
Doing the pod. Viewers, that's actually what you're looking at. When Connor is facing Charlie in real life.
Yeah.
You ever wonder what the other side of Connor's?
Connor and I are about 18 inches away right now.
I'm actually holding the camera.
All right. Goodbye.
Oh wow. See you, Connor.
Oh, are you guys staying on for the pod?
What?
Are you guys staying on? Are you guys doing more content?
I don't have more content to give, but
All
I've
right.
got nowhere to go.
All right. I'm ending it.